Hi everyone, welcome back to Artschool. I'm Stuart Semple and this is the Crit Show. Thank you so much to everybody who sent work in for us to discuss. I'm not going to have time to go through all of it, so I've picked ones that I think have things in common with the majority of questions that I've been asked, or pieces that I think would be particularly interesting for us to discuss. What I'd love you to do is use the comments box below to add your feedback about the work that we're looking at. If you've got any advice or any tips or any ideas, then please feel free to share them. But be nice, be positive and be constructive, otherwise I'm just going to delete the comments, so there's no point. First of all, this is a piece by Anne-Marie, who's called it Sanctuary in the Wild. It's a small sort of 23 centimetre by 30 centimetre acrylic painting, and she says that the only time she feels close to divinity is when she's outdoors and in nature. And she's asked me particularly about the copyright issue in the work, because she's taken the song Hosier's Take Me to Church, that phrase, and written it across the piece, and she's wondering if she can get in any trouble by using it. No, I don't think so, Anne-Marie. I think you're all right with this one. I mean, at the end of the day, Hosier can't possibly own the phrase "take me to church." I think people have been using that phrase forever. So I wouldn't worry about it. Crack on. Yeah, it's a lovely piece. I love the rhythm in it. I love the movement in it. It feels really direct. It's quite expressive. It's got a lot of movement, and I think that's really, really good. You've asked me if I've got any tips or things that you could improve. Just keep making them. They're going to evolve over time anyway. The more you get into that creative flow of making stuff, the further your work's going to develop and travel, and it'll probably end up in places that you don't even expect. So keep doing that. It seems to me that nature's the strong kind of driving force or inspiration for you. So really try and harness that. Maybe try painting outside in different places, in different environments. And I really, really like the way you're getting this sense of movement. It's almost like you've painted it from a train or something as you're going past the scenery. So maybe look at that. I think Gerhard Richter's always good to look at for that kind of sense of movement and blurriness. And also, I like the way that you're bringing this sort of soundtrack element through incorporating the songs into the work. So maybe try listening to different music on your headphones in different environments and see if that has an impact on the way you paint. It might do. So yeah, all good things to have a play with. Don't worry about the copyright issue, it's absolutely fine. And yeah, lovely piece. I'd love to see more. So please share more of your work with us as it develops. Right, next up, we have a painting of a horse by Marie. Marie is actually a professional chef. She spends 60 hours a week in a kitchen in France. She's 33 years old, absolutely loves painting. She wants to paint full time, doesn't want to be in the kitchen, and she's asked me if I've got any tips or advice on how to make that happen. She's made about 20 of these, so they're sort of quite abstract, horsey kind of pictures. It's difficult. I mean, you're asking me how to make a living as an artist. I did a video on that. If you look at my channel, you'll see there's a video on actually how to make a living as an artist. So drill into that, because I think that's really what you're asking. But horses are obviously a passion of yours, and I know that people who love horses probably love pictures of horses in their houses. So I think a smart thing to do is to get around people that love horses. So is there a local stable near you? Is there somewhere where you go to ride horses, groom horses, get involved in that community? Maybe you could put your work up there and people would start to see it, and maybe you could start to build up a bit of a following or some collectors for the things you make. Apart from that, in terms of the work, I really like the composition of it. I like the simplicity of the eye, the space, the focus of it. It's brilliant. So maybe that's something to pursue in the work. I mean, you've made 20, but keep it going, keep the enthusiasm going for the horses. And I like these sort of snapshot, tight, cropped kind of moments. They could be really dynamic. Be interesting to see some colour in there maybe, and play with scale as well. Maybe really small ones, really big ones. and just experiment and be really, really playful. But I think you need to get around people that like pictures of horses, and hopefully that will evolve over time into some sort of income for you. And maybe you can't back out of the kitchen 100%, but maybe you can not work there so much or something and gradually phase one thing into the other. But ultimately you're going to have to take a leap of faith, take some risks, and start getting this work out there in front of people who might be able to afford to buy it. Next up, Caroline Wall. Hi Caroline. You've sent in a few pictures. I'm going to feature two of them today, and really your big kind of issue is, when do I know it's finished and when do I leave it alone? And I think that's something that a lot of people have in common. I mean, a lot of people ask, how do you know when it's finished? How do you know when it's done? There's lots of ways to look at that question, and I think an interesting thing to ask, or maybe a more interesting thing to ask, is, when did it start? When was it started? When did you get that inspiration, that initial idea? Was it when you started painting as a child and you're still kind of painting? Did it start when art history started making pictures? I mean, where does a painting actually start? Is it when you get the idea, when you prime the canvas? So you can look at the other side of that argument. The other thing is, for me, I kind of find it useful to think of paintings as one long painting. So it's not about that rushing to get that one piece finished. It's like, when that piece is enough, maybe you just carry on another piece. Or while you're making a piece, you start collecting ideas that might be interesting for the next one. And you can see your whole process, or your whole body of work, if you like, as a continuum, as one thing that feeds into the next. So you don't have to do it all on one piece, because if I'm honest with you, you know, one of them that you sent, this one, was a drip painting that you put over a textured abstract that you didn't like. So you didn't like a picture, you dripped over it, and then you added the white outline with this opaque white chalk, and then you said that you want to work into it even more with loads of fluoro detail. And actually, I think you're in real danger of overworking this and killing it off by doing too much in one place. So one thing that might be interesting for you to try is to think about working in series. So work on a painting and get it up to the bit with the drips, and then another painting, take it a bit further, the next one a bit further, and then maybe you could look at 10 or 15 of these things together, and you'll have a sense of how far to take them. Because sometimes it's good to leave something just undercooked. I mean, with my work at the moment, I'm really trying to balance space and not cover every little bit of canvas, and leave room to finish it off on the next painting or what I make in a year's time. It doesn't all have to be done there and then. Now, I know that you like to work at night, and you say that you feel lonely at night and you can't sleep, you've got insomnia, and that's when you tend to work. I wonder if these paintings can start to talk a bit more about that feeling of loneliness or that sense of insomnia, because, you know, there's a sense that filling it all in is a way of passing the time, or something like that. Anyway, they're all thoughts that I've had about what you're doing, and I hope it's useful. But to summarise, work in series, work a few of them up to a certain point, some of them a bit further, some of them a bit further, and think about your whole body of work as one piece. You know, being here, being an artist, making work, that's your work. It doesn't have to be contained in one picture. Okay, that's it for this one. Thanks so much for sharing your work. I'm going to do another crit show in about a month. I think if we do one a month and look at each other's work, that would be really, really nice. Get involved in the comments. If you want to send in your work for me to look at and for us all to discuss, then email it, artschool@stuartsemple.com. Get in touch with me on Snapchat, it's Stuart_Semple, Twitter @StuartSemple, or the Facebook / I can't remember, but I'll put the link below. Okay, see you all later. Have an awesome week. Bye.